There is a habit. It is like a cancer that is eating up relationships today. You see, this cancer, if not checked or put in check, it can literally crumble your relationship, can drown your relationship, it can make your relationship to nosedive. It can literally cause you depression. You know what? That cancer is what I'm going to reveal to you. This is a product of experience. In fact, the best of relationships fall prey to this subtle cancer. A lot of people do not even know that it's actually affecting their relationship. When you look at people in the office, between colleagues or business partners, or an employer and an employee, or two friends, married couples, that cancer, it is something that is bound to happen, that can make your relationship to nosedive. Now, I said it is bound to happen because even in the best of relationship, it happens. But do you know that when I say it is bound to happen, let me quickly balance it, that when it happens, you can actually check it. And the only way you can check it is when you know that this is what is setting into your relationship. When you spend many years together, when you spend a lot of time with someone, there are certain strengths that you will know about the person. But guess what? There's also a lot of weakness that you will know about the person. And it is those years of being together that reveals the weakness of that person to you. Because the truth is, when you were, for instance, in a marital relationship, before you got married, you were both living apart. So you were bringing your best self to the relationship. You were bringing your best self to the activity. You were always, trim and proper. You don't live together. So the best of the best is what you see. But guess what? Once you get married and you begin to live together, you will now see the beauty, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what you will see when you spend a lot of time with someone, either your wife, your husband, your colleague, someone that is probably a friend of yours. Because you are seeing the bad, which I like to tell people that you are seeing the bad of that person. Don't forget that there is also the good of that person. You see, this cancer, it is that subtle destroyer of relationship, is what I'm going to reveal to you. It is called familiarity. It is familiarity that will make you to begin to take for granted what you value the most about that person. You see, human nature sometimes, because of the complexity of being human, when there is no problem, we tend to create problem. And that's why you have to be careful. So I know of a couple that, you see, this couple, they understand each other, they love each other, they are the best of the best. When you see them outside, you will, love their relationship. But guess what? I later gathered that they began to have some physical assault, and at the end of the day, of course, they reconciled and they were able to make up for it. But in just having conversation with them, I come to understand that really what led to that assault was not necessary, because there was really no problem. But human nature, when we are frustrated, because I always tell people that the human species is a very complex being. It's not one thing that makes him to act in a particular way. It's a combination of, it's a series of events that triggered a particular emotion. And so if he does not know how to put that emotion in check, there can be an outburst. But the idea is, when you get familiar, right, you will take for granted that spouse. You will take for granted that colleague. You will take for granted that business partner. For instance, I also know of a gentleman that is a part of an organization that is very productive, right? And just by the man being a part of the organization, the organization has seen tremendous growth and a lot of positive impact is being made. But do you know that the man told me that sometimes, because of familiarity, the things that he used to be celebrated for has now become normal, so that the person he now works with, like, he just takes for granted the fact that the value this man is bringing is exceptional and is no longer celebrated. Instead, it's just looked at as, what's the big deal? You know, I tell you this, please, when you are relating with people and they are adding value to your life, always celebrate them and let them know that they are a big deal in your life. Because you know what? If you are particularly working with somebody in a work atmosphere that is conscious, in terms of his being, that is not full of himself, you see, when you appreciate and celebrate people, they will give you more value. I love Apostle Joshua Selman. Apostle Joshua Selman always celebrates his team, never takes them for granted. I also love, the man of God I serve under, my pastor, Reverend Bemini Eboda. He is always looking out for the workforce, for the leaders, for the workers in general. I want you to remember this, that the relationship you take for granted, you will lose. The relationship you celebrate, you will maintain. And there is also one key principle I want to give to you. If you're having problem in your relationship, most especially the married people, or even with anyone in general, and you think that this person, doesn't have any value to you, I want to use this. There is a concept I came up with many years ago. That concept is simply this. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the good that person has done you in the past and in the present? And then on a scale of also 1 to 10, what is the bad that person has done in the past and in the present? If you put it on a scale, does the good of that person outweigh his bad? Right? If his good outweigh his bad, it is indeed a relationship you should nurture and sustain. Because guess what? That relationship you think is no longer, rosy for you, it is because you have allowed familiarity to set in and you are no longer seeing the good. You are now seeing the person when he has not brushed. You are seeing the person when he's not doing all of the things you said the person should do. But guess what? I always tell people that, if God were a man, all of us would be dead. Because even the best of a man, right, he is still falling short of God's standard. But God has not run him down. Please quit running people down. Don't allow familiarity to make you insult your spouse or insult your colleague or insult your subordinate or insult even your boss. You see, when you don't allow familiarity to set in your relationship, guess what? The wine in your relationship will be fresh. Somebody was asking a couple that have been married for 65 years that this is a beautiful relationship. Do you ever think of divorce? The man said, I even thought of killing her. Thank God it's just a thought. It's not an action. Maybe in a moment of anger or heated debate, the man thought that, if this woman just die now, I'll be happy. But guess what? It is that same relationship that weathered through those times that they are celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary. So when you cultivate the habit of celebrating your spouse, the wine in your relationship will be fresh. The love will be rekindled. You see, no one wants to be taken for granted. No one wants to be trampled upon. If you want your relationship to be better, you know what? Most especially, I like to tell couple that if you're having a particular problem with your spouse, just go back to the reason why you first loved them in the first place and why you even went into the relationship. When you go back to that, you will love them again and you will have your own peace and serenity, which will make you more productive. You see, most of the time, people make decisions that will hurt their future, hurt their finance, because in the home front they are not even happy. So a home that does not allow familiarity to set in, an organization that does not allow familiarity to set in, will be very productive, and there will be peace and everybody will be happy. Let me know in the comment section how familiarity has hurt your relationship or is hurting your relationship. And let me know how you were able to, address this familiarity and the impact it has made in your relationship. Many thanks for being part of today's conversation. I remain Michael Ogunchola.